Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought we'd go over one method of sharpening a slitting saw. This method is going to work for, I guess, a single cut type slitting saw, and it will not work for a staggered tooth type slitting saw, just so you know. I'm going to be holding the slitting saw in this little arbor here in my sensitive work head. So I've gone ahead, I've dialed my sensitive work head in this way and this way. I've got the whole thing running nice and true. Because we're going to want this slitting saw to have straight edges on it. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here, get it snugged down, and then we'll talk about dialing it in, because we want to recreate pretty much exactly the clearance angle that's on the periphery of this thing. And so this next step of dialing it in is pretty critical. Our wheel is going to be on here basically straight, so this spindle is going to be dialed in, so this wheel is basically cutting a nice straight vertical line. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the tool and we're going to dial off the existing clearance angle, and we're going to get that set up so that it pretty much exactly matches. I've picked just some random tooth. That's going to be my starting tooth. I'm just going to put a little dab of marker on there. Now I have this rotated just sort of randomly, and what I'm going to start doing is going up and down with the grinding head, and I'm going to keep doing that and making small adjustments until I get my dial reading 0. Now I have the spindle on this sensitive work head just snugged, so it won't freewheel on me, but I'm free to rotate it and make those small adjustments. I've got this dialed 0 now, and I'm going to attempt to show you. So I'm basically, my dial's at the very cutting edge at the tip of the tooth. And so I'm going to come downwards here with my handle, and you can see we're staying on 0 as the stylus on my dial passes across the primary clearance angle on this tool. Now that I'm happy with the way that's dialed in, I'm just going to go ahead and snug this spindle on the sensitive work head down, because my next step is to set a pointer up on the tooth that I've marked, and I don't want anything moving on me while I'm doing that. For this next part, setting up the pointer, there's really not too many hard and fast rules, but a couple of things that are going to matter is it does have to be set up in such a way that the grinding wheel won't hit your pointer. Of course, you'd be just grinding away at that for no good reason. And it also should be as close as you can get to 90 degrees to the tooth you're pointing off of. That'll help really reduce any unwanted flex. So what I've done here is I've just got a little piece of aluminum, and I've ground it down quite thin this way. It lets me really get into some tight places. I also have sort of a nice point on the one end, and that'll allow me to touch. I want to touch basically as close as possible to, I want to be in the flute and touch as close as possible to the cutting edge, and that's where I want the support to be. Keeping all those sort of loose general rules in mind, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing set up. Now, I'm not going to ask you guys to sit there and watch all this. It's going to take a little while, probably going to be a tiny bit of swearing involved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it set up, and then I'll bring you guys back in and we'll take a look at how it is. I was kind of set up here, but I'm actually going to have to rethink this. And if you look real carefully here, what's happening is the back side of the tooth is just sharp enough and hard enough to take a little flay of aluminum off my pointer as every tooth goes by. And the fear there is that if it takes too many little flays off, eventually there'll be no tip left to actually sit down in that flute. And then I could lose control over this, and I could actually ruin this thing. So my aluminum pointer tip is not going to work. I'm going to loosen all this back up and try something different in there. I've got that next pointer in there now. I think this is going to work a lot better. This is a spring steel. It's not hardened, but it's much harder than the aluminum was. It's nowhere near as hard as the high-speed steel that the slitting saw is made out of, so I'm not worried about damaging the slitting saw with it. It is hard enough and at such an angle and so on that I'm not cutting into it with the slitting saw the way I was with the aluminum. So I'm happy about that. I am contacting out fairly close to my cutting edge, which is where I wanted to be. And I also have lots of room for my wheel to pass by without causing any issues. I've picked out a wheel. I ended up going with this cup wheel. One of the advantages this gives me is my nut. My wheel nut is now tucked down inside. And otherwise, if I just had a dish or something, this would be interfering with my pointer right now. So the cup wheel is good for that. You can see this wheel is really plugged up. I'm going to have to give it a dress before we start cutting, but this will help you visualize what part of the wheel is actually going to contact the slitting saw, and it's this dark plugged up ring around the outside of the thing. So as far as setting up the position of the wheel, I've got it set so that the wheel will grind all the way down across this flat, this primary clearance angle back here. It'll grind all the way across all of it. It'll completely come off the back of it, and it won't be grinding anything right here. But I stop, and I have a stop set up here on my table well before I hit the next tooth below. And that's important because this next tooth below, it could very well be sticking out farther than the tip of the tooth we're working on. And so you wouldn't want to go wrecking the next tooth around. Something to be very careful to look for. I'm just going to give this wheel a lick with my diamond dresser, and we're going to clear all this plugged up area off of it, because all that would do is create a ton of heat. Now you can see the wheel's all cleaned up, all that plugged up material is gone. This will cut as freely now as this particular grit and bond of wheel is able to cut. I've had people mention in the comments that they like when I put some marker on the surfaces that I'm grinding, that it helps them more easily see when I've actually touched and that sort of thing, because it's pretty much impossible to tell otherwise. So I'm just going to go ahead, put a little dab of marker on this primary clearance angle, and then as we start grinding this, you should see this disappear. And because I'm dialed in every which way, that entire marker area should basically all disappear at very close to the exact same time. That'll be showing us that we're recreating the exact same clearance angle that's currently on there. I'm just waiting to touch here, coming in very slowly with my in-feed wheel. Oh, there we've touched. So in theory, most of that marker should be gone. Now that we're touched off, I'm just going to come in another half thou, and I'm going to make my first trip around this thing. I'm happy with that now. I've made a couple passes around. Only took a few thou off. I was only trying to just freshen it up. It wasn't dull to start with. Now, if you did have a dull one or one with damage on it, you just keep going in deeper and around until you get all the damage out, and you're happy that it's going to be cutting fresh again. This one's ready to go. This one's finished. While this tool is still in here, I just want to double check that in fact we have the proper clearance we're looking for. It'd be easier to make an adjustment now than it would after I tear all this apart. So I'm just going to pull this spring-loaded finger back. I'm right at the cutting edge now, and I'm up at 0. And as I rotate through what would be the cut, you can see we're coming minus, and now we're off the dial. So there's nothing behind the cutting edge that's higher than the cutting edge. So yes, in fact, we do have the clearance that we wanted. I'm ready to take this out. Now to do so, I'm going to have to move my pointer. In the event that you had multiples of these to do that were identical to each other, one option would have been to set the pointer up over on this side. Now the reason I didn't is because there's more room to work out here, but that certainly would have been an option. And if I'd have done it that way, I could take one cutter off, plop another one on, and I'm off to the races again. Again, for this example, it doesn't matter. I just have the one to do, so it was a one-off kind of thing. But for multiples, that's a way you could handle it and really speed yourself up so that you're not readjusting your pointer for every tool. So I've got this out of the machine now, and I thought I would just show you guys. This is the surface that we just reground, and that's the primary clearance angle on this guy. And it's probably really tough to see, but this whole leading edge is nice and fresh and crisp. There's no shiny spots that might indicate some dullness or some damage. So this thing's ready to go back to work. Well, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.